I'd like to tell you a story.
Once upon a time, there was a man.
And this man was in desperate need for a job.
And I should tell you, he doesn't have any arms.
So I know what you're thinking, that this would probably limit the possibilities that this man would have for a job.
And he thinks, you know what, I should be able to do a job just like anybody else.
So he just one day started nosing through the paper and thought, boom, what can I find?
Here we go. And he came across a job
that the local church is looking for a bell ringer.
And he thought, well, that's perfect for me. I can do that.
And he went off to find the minister and to apply for the job as the ringer of the bell.
He's walking, skipping along.
Climbed the steep hill up to the church.
When he got there, he knocked on the door using his head.
Bam, 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 like that. Someone comes to the door.
And the big wooden oaken doors open, and the diminutive little parish priest comes out, a little rotund guy with spectacles.
And saw this man before him.
There he stood with the ad in his mouth.
The minister says, "Can I help you?" And the man says, "I'm here for the job." And the minister's a little taken aback.
Long story short, he takes the newspaper out of his mouth.
Beautiful.
He sees on the paper that he wants to get this job at the church, and he's like, well, okay.
I'm afraid, you know, this might not be the job for you.
How could a man with no arms ring a bell?
No arms, can you imagine that? What would that be like? What would that be like to have no arms? I mean,
well, you probably enhance your other senses. I mean, maybe he was a really fast runner.
And he said, hey, I can do this job, this is great. You just gotta let me, you know, I can do it, I can be your bell ringer. You're looking for a bell ringer, that's me.
He said, let me prove to you. Let me show you that I can do this job.
The priest was a very fair man, and he agreed.
They go up to the bell loft.
The 12 flights of stairs, which is about 6 stories.
All these flights of stairs, and it's this gorgeous bell.
It's huge.
Beautiful bell.
So shiny and pretty.
Shining with the sunlight as it came through the windows.
Giant bell, this beautiful bell.
Never been touched by human hands.
The most beautiful, gorgeous bell in the whole county.
I never heard that before, that it was
Some
pewter.
kind of pewter alloy.
And the bell was glistening, and the man's heart just filled with joy.
This is the bell that told everyone what time it was.
So the guy can't wait to ring the bell.
The priest shook his head and said,
Well, if you really want to do this to yourself and, you know, you're ready to take it on, the job's yours.
Let me try ringing this bell.
And he backed up into the farthest corner of the room.
He eyes up his target, his drop zone, if you will.
Okay, watch this, Padre.
The man smiled at the minister.
Oh man, I can do that.
And he runs as fast as he can, face first into the bell. Bong!
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 Boing!
Bong!
Bang!
Bing!
Bong!
Bong! Dong!
Oh, it was mystic.
Pewter has super sound conducticity.
If you would have heard it, you would have cried and then taken a nap.
Then the man with no arms turned to the minister.
He's a little winded and a little dizzy.
his eyes starting to swell.
Blood coming down out of his nose.
What's here? A smile.
He wasn't in pain, he had some Advil.
And the priest says, well, you know, if you were that dedicated and you want to do that, it's yours. You can have the job.
Days passed. The man was doing the job every day, ringing the bell. And he loved it.
He's feeling really good about himself, you know.
And the thing about this whole thing was, I mean, when he's ringing the bell, it's not just on Sunday. He had to be ringing this bell every hour on the hour.
Or like if it's 6 o'clock, you got to do it 6 times.
But now it was Sunday.
The biggest day of the week.
He needs to prove it to the rest of the community.
It's about time for the bell to be rung at the hour, and everyone's just getting out of church.
He really, really, really wants it to sound good.
And the man's like, you know, I'm going to just totally prove to all the people that I can do this job.
So he stood back in the farthest corner of the room.
And he is ready, you know, and he is ready.
You know that this is his big day, you know, because he just got him a new job and all.
And he knows everyone's about to come out. He backs up as far into the corner as he can.
Took in a deep breath.
And with all his energy and might, ran towards the bell.
Full force, like a stallion.
But there's a loose floorboard that he hadn't noticed.
He hits it, trips out the window. Boom!
He takes off, man. I mean, you want to talk about flying. This guy was soaring.
Falls out the window, all the way down to 6 stories.
Now the entire congregation had exited at just this moment.
And he's laying there on the ground, and
It looked kind of funny because the guy didn't have no arms.
And people gather around him, and a
Man rushed up and cradled the poor broken body in his arms. And
a woman looks over his shoulder and says to him, "Oh, what's the matter? Is he all right? What's going on? Who is he?"
And the guy looked at her in the face, stared her straight in the eyes, and said,
I don't know, but his face rings a bell. You gotta laugh.